Hi everyone, welcome back. So the last time we met, I had just booked my Air India tickets from Toronto to Chennai, and I had a million questions. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, what was the process involved, how I'm supposed to get here, and all of that. But 10 days later, here I am in Chennai, although not my final destination, but I'm in my state. I am in my city and I'm happy. So currently I'm in quarantine right now, and in this video I've explained what happens during your flight and after, and how quarantine works in Chennai right now. And I've also taken short videos throughout the process in every single place. So this video will be really helpful if you're planning to travel anytime soon. And for booking the tickets, I am going to link my previous video below. So just click on that if you're looking to book tickets to get back home. And feel free to share this video with people who are traveling, or if you're just curious to know how this entire process works if you want to travel during a pandemic. So, first step of the process. When do you get to the airport and how do you get there? So, the first thing I did was I called Toronto Pearson and asked them, where does Air India flights come? Because in Toronto you have two terminals, Terminal 1 and Terminal 3. India comes at Terminal 1, and it's great to know that, because if you're taking an Up Express, if that's how you're connecting and getting to Toronto Pearson, drops you at Terminal 1. So all you have to do is get down, flights, you're supposed to be there before 3 hours. I got there before 4 hours, but even then there was a long lineup 4 hours before. So if you wanted to, have some time to relax a little bit, get food outside and things like that, make sure you get there sooner. I would say even 4.5, 5 hours is not bad. Get done with all the process, go sit down, and before you go on to the counter and actually get your boarding pass, two things will be done. One, they're gonna give you a form to fill up. The other thing they'll do is they check your temperature right there even before getting your boarding pass. If you had a higher temperature, so had a fever or something, I think they find it out right at that point. And in that form as well, you actually fill up saying that you don't have these symptoms, you're okay with during the quarantine, and you're okay with the risk of even getting the virus because of. The other thing to note is for these evacuation flights with Air India, well, for all flights, you're supposed to do your online check-in. You should be able to do your online checking 48 hours before the flight. But in this case, I was not able to do that. Like, it just wouldn't go through. So when I called up, they said, we will do it for you, but then you should still go to the counter to get your boarding pass. I was like, okay. And so that means you're also not going to be able to choose your seats. And I think that's pretty much the norm right now. A lot of people are not able to go pick your seat. But I requested for a window seat when I was on the call. I'll soon tell you how that worked out. But when you get to the counter after these two procedures, you get in, you give them the slip that you just filled out, and drop off your bags. So with the bags, you are allowed 23 kgs, and you're allowed two bags of 23 kgs and one 7 kg handbag. It's just like a regular usual international flight. And in my case, I actually just had one check-in baggage, but mine was about 28.5 kgs in weight. But they were pretty understanding though. Like, she didn't overcharge me, make a fuss about it. She just took that in, and that was easy. And then you get your boarding pass. So So this is very important. When you're booking these flights, always make sure that your flight numbers are the same. So these could end up being different flights, but whatever that you see on your ticket and whatever that you see on your boarding pass. So my connection was at Delhi. It was from Toronto to Delhi and Delhi to Chennai, but both flights had the same exact number. It was AI 188. And that is very important, because if that was not the case, then you might be asked to quarantine in Delhi for 7 days if you're going to be waiting in Delhi for your next flight, which I believe nobody wants to do, because you quarantine in Delhi for 7 days, come to Chennai, do a quarantine for 7 days, go home and then do home quarantine. That's a lot. So now you have your hand baggage with you and you're gonna go through security clearance, and that is just like the same. It's the okay. So the security check is done, and we're to the gates E and F right now, as you can see there. There was almost nobody except for the people who are going on this particular flights. So if you're concerned about eating inside the flight, feel free to carry some snack bars or something, whatever works for you. And it's also good to eat a little heavy right before your flight, if that doesn't make you sick. And just so you can try to avoid at least 1 or 2 meals inside the flight, because the flight was packed. It was heavily packed, and so it's the one of those bigger flights with 3 rows and 3 seats in each row. So I got the middle row and the middle seat of the middle row, so you can imagine. And it was carried, since my seat was in the middle. And okay, there is no social distancing inside the flight. I don't think that's possible either, for many different reasons. Sitting in the middle are supposed to wear these full gowns. And your food for the entire flight already gets to you. It's already in your seat. So they try to limit the contact that you have with the crew members, which is also amazing. And you also get this other package with face mask and a face shield and sanitizers and everything that you might need during the flight. And the food was okay. I mean, it was not very great, but this is not the time we complain about that one, right? So it was manageable. And I tried to eat only when no one else around me was eating, only when I didn't hear those plastic covers crinkle, because you eat, you're of course like taking off everything that's in your face. You don't have your face shield on anymore, you don't have your mask on anymore. So try not to do that when people at least right next to you are also eating or doing. And there is no in-flight entertainment. There's no music, there's no movies. You can't even see that map and like track your flight over the countries. There is nothing. So make sure that you bring some entertainment source on your own if you don't want to get really bored. Okay, so coming to the really important thing, the way this looked was that this flight was gonna start in Toronto and directly get to Chennai, just the same flight, and you just get right to Chennai. But what actually happened was that, so what they said was it has a stopover in Delhi, not a layover. So that means that you're supposed to be inside the flight and then you get out. But that's totally not what happened. When we got to Delhi, what they said was, and this particular flight actually had more people who wanted to get off at Delhi than more people who wanted to come until Chennai. So what ended up happening was, when we reached Delhi, they asked all the people who are going to Chennai to get off the plane first. So we got out and we thankfully we didn't have to clear immigration, which means we didn't have to take out our checked in bags. That went straight to Chennai, which is great. So we got out, we just cleared security with our hand baggage and then found the gate for our connecting flight to Chennai, which means although it had the same number, although it had the same airplane number, the AI number, what ended up happening was they actually put us on a smaller flight, and I think it's called the Air India Light. And so this was a smaller flight with just 2 rows, and that's the one that went to Chennai, not the big flight that we actually came from. Which is fine. So you just get out, find your gate again, just like how you do in any connecting flight, and you go all the way down and get to your terminal. And there I finally had some real food. So now let's talk about the quarantine rules in Chennai as of 10th and 11th July. So in Chennai, there is a mandatory institutional quarantine, which means there is no way you're getting home right after the flight. No matter what, you could live in Chennai, you could live somewhere else, it doesn't matter. So everyone in the flight, like I said, regardless, you are going to stay in a hotel outside, which they assign, or you can go to a government facility, but you have to be outside for 7 days. I think there are very few cases, I'm not sure about this, but if you're pregnant or if you have a kid that's less than 10 years old and for very or really highly emergency situations, I think they let you out. But this seemed like the case for most people. So in Chennai, you get out, you're so happy that you're finally home, and you clear immigration, and then you get to your bags. And until you get out of the airport, everything is the same. Everything is the same. Get out of the airport and near the place where our families usually meet us when we arrive. There they have set up the health department, and before you get there, they ask you this question. Do you want to go to a hotel or do you want to do government? If you do government, then you're not going to be paying for the quarantine. If you're going to be staying in a hotel, then yes, you're going to be paying. And when I went inside the hotel option, there was only one option. So there was just one hotel. It was Taj, so I'm not complaining, not the slightest. So, and it's actually pretty nominal. We are supposed to be paying 2,500 per night, and that includes food, and that's actually this room. That's where I am right now. And it's a mandatory 7-day thing. So I went in. I was actually, well, I was actually doubtful, like, is it really Taj Coromandel in Nungambakam? Like, is it? Yeah, I was I was not very confident if that's that's the real thing. You go there is a form, and fill up both sides of that form. You give it to them. That basically says that you're okay with paying this 2,500 per night as per the rules, and you want to go into a hotel for your quarantine. So you fill that up, you take it to them, and then they take the form from you, they leave one copy with you, and they ask you to go out to a different place. And they also actually stamp this in your hand before you get out, and I think it said something like, proud to save Tamil Nadu or something. Kind of felt nice. And after this, you come out, and that's where you do your COVID test. So they make you sit, 2 swabs, one inside your mouth, one inside your nose, and they take out samples. They take your name, they take where you're going down, they have all the details. And once you're done with that, they directed me to So we got to Taj, finally. So I guess the way this works is that they have already assigned hotels for certain flights. Like people in these flights, if they choose the hotel option, this is the place that they are going to. So if you come in a different flight on a different day, your option might be something else, and things might work a different way. But I guess inside, after coming to the hotel, the process is kind of going to be the same thing. Right when we got out of the bus, they asked us to put all our checked in bags and our hand baggage to separately. And what they did was they actually sprayed some antiviral liquid on all of them, which is great. And before we got into the hotel, they checked us for our temperature. They made us write down the temperature. And after we got in at Taj, this is how things work. They have a QR code. You get on the website, you find the form, you fill out that form, and you basically go to the counter with your form and your passport, and they take down all the information. And I had the time to ask all my questions to the manager who was downstairs, and people here were amazing, to be honest. Very friendly, very helpful, very patient, because everyone is asking the exact same questions, right? But then they were really helpful. So my questions were things like, are we the first group to come into Taj, and are you cleaning up the rooms properly? Because I don't want to come safe all the way until Chennai from Toronto and then get sick after coming here. So I clarified all these things. They were very responsive as well. And finally got to my room. I don't think so. So the one thing that you'll so desperately want to do the minute you enter your room is to just go sleep and not do anything. But try not to do that, because you just did international travel and you're still wearing the same clothes. So try to change immediately and take a nice shower, and make sure you clean your phone as well, because that's the one thing that you would have touched the most. And these things, you don't want to like bring something into the room that you're going to be staying in for 7 days. So it's good to take these precautions. Here is the last step. Even when you get into the country, they'll tell you about this. When you're here, download the Arogya Setu app. So what it does is it actually tracks the people who are around you. Your Bluetooth is supposed to be switched on all the time. It basically tracks the distance and the people who have been around you. And if they tested positive for COVID, you get to know, you had this, and you can take the necessary step towards it. And I think it's one of the mandatory things to do that as well. And ePass, you apply for that online. I'll try to add the link down in the comment section or in the description. And when you're here, just chill and get over your jet lag. So that is it, people. That is all the steps involved in getting back home. Would I say it's worth it? Absolutely yes. And I'm just hoping, all my tests, these tests go negative and I get to go home very soon. And I wish you safe travels. Take all the necessary steps. We know what's the right thing to do, and let's keep ourselves safe and also the people around us safe. feel free to share this video with anyone, that's going to be traveling, because I went through all the steps and I just hope I can make it easy and more clear for someone who is coming home after me. And I want to make sure that I mention this. I want to say a heartfelt thank you to every single essential worker, police officers, people working in airports, people running the flights, uh, doctors, nurses, and everyone who's making sure that the world is still running despite, a situation like this. I'm genuinely grateful. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything.